Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Soul of the Skull podcast. We've got for now, we just have two of us on. Eventually, I think we're going to have a third one joining, but he's got class first, so he's got to fulfill his life duties before he gets on our little podcast that we've got going on here. But it is February 7th, and it is an interesting time for football. So, the Super Bowl is, of course, coming up in just a few days here. We just had the conference championships and the whole playoffs, and now the Pro Bowl games just happened, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But then, like I said, we got the Super Bowl coming up, followed by the off season, which is fun times as well. So over the years, the Pro Bowl and the idea of the Pro Bowl has changed. For years, it was in Hawaii exclusively, and then they moved it to Orlando. And then over the years, it just kind of got more of a sad game because injury became too much of a concern. So then last year, finally, they changed it to the Pro Bowl games instead of an actual pads helmet football game. Now it's a flag football game and a whole bunch of other festivities and whatnot. So with that said, I'll throw it over to you first, then I'll talk some too. Is there any thoughts you have on the Pro Bowl games? Do you like the format? Should they change it? Should they just get rid of it altogether? What do you think about it?
Yeah, honestly, I think most fans, they just liked when it was like a good game where, people obviously were never really going like 100%, but it was a game where people were being tackled, and it was in Hawaii. You had all the festivities. So I think me as well as the rest of NFL fans just liked it when it was like that. Obviously, it's like you said, it's kind of gone off the rails a little bit. As for the new format, there are parts I like and there are parts I really don't like. I find myself really enjoying the skills competition. I think it's kind of cool seeing those guys compete in a different aspect, and that's honestly something I have no problem with. I would like to see them bring it back to Hawaii. It sounds like there's a bunch of issues with that stadium, which is the reason they stopped having it there. As for the game goes, I think with the flag football game, I think it's kind of a joke. I just don't like it at all. I think it should be like, obviously getting a Pro Bowl nomination is a big deal. When you look back on people's careers, you talk about Pro Bowls, you talk about all the Pro Bowls they made. So I still think the nomination should definitely be a thing. And I like the skills competitions too, but maybe they have like a, I don't know, honorary night, or like they have a dinner or something instead of the game, or you just go there, something like that. So you should still get the nomination. I just think the flag football game is unnecessary.
So yeah, you just kind of made some nice points there, and here's what I think. I think that they made a good choice. Overall, they made a good choice last year to change it, just with the direction of it. No one was enjoying it anymore.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think me, you, and every football fan around would want it to be able to go back to the football game it used to be, but we all know it's never going to happen, and they're never going to be able to make it competitive again. But yeah, I mean, they made the right choice by changing it. This year, I'll be honest, I didn't watch anything this year. I was sick last week, and then I had family over Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was. So never really worked out to watch, but I did last year, and then I did some of the previous years. And I mean, no matter what, I don't think there's going to be truly a good solution to it. There's always going to be something that people don't like about it. And right now, like you talked about, I mean, the flag football game isn't very competitive, and it's just kind of guys out there having fun. So no matter what, I don't think there's ever going to be a solution that everyone's going to like and everyone's going to want to tune into TV and everyone's going to watch, and the players and coaches and everyone, literally everyone, is going to like. It's never going to happen. So I think that the current Pro Bowl games format is the best option they have, even though, I mean, it's not great. I still think it's the best one they have out there. And yeah, they're never going to go back to a real football game. And I think the way it's becoming now, fans, I saw sometimes over the weekend, especially with the flag football game, just kind of complained about how kind of boring almost it was. And we're coming to a point where the Pro Bowl isn't for fans anymore. It's not for the entertainment. It's for the players, and it's for the players having fun. And them talking to other guys on other teams and kind of just hanging out and having a good week with them. So I think sometimes there are fans that just need to kind of accept that that's just how it is now. Is that going to be that it's never going to be competitive anymore. It's not really about the TV watching.
Mhm.
It's just kind of there. It's about the players
Yeah.
having fun. So no matter what, yeah, pretty much the conclusion I've come to is there's never going to be a really good solution. But I think what they have now is probably the best it's going to be.
Mhm.
And we have a guest. Welcome, Matt. He's a guest here today. So we actually kind of just started. So we just talked a little about the history of the Pro Bowl and kind of the current format of it. Do we like it? Do we not like it? Sam O pretty much stated he didn't really like it. And then I said, I mean, I don't like it, but it's kind of the best option they have is the Pro Bowl games, what they have right now. And I pretty much explained it's because it's not about the fans. It's not about the people watching on TV. It's about the players and just having a fun time and a fun week with with all the other players and coaches and whatnot. So no matter what, pretty much the conclusion I came to is it's never going to go back to a competitive football game like it once was. And that for me, the Pro Bowl games is just simply the best solution. Even though I wish it could be better, there is probably not going to be better.
Yeah, I see both sides to it. I understand where the fan frustration comes into play, where it's just not what it was. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I 100% agree with you, Joel. Just it's all about the players. If the players buy into it, at some point the fans are going to buy into it too. Kind of how I feel and see it. I actually don't mind the Pro Bowl games because at that same point, I actually enjoy seeing that these players actually like it, that they buy into it. Obviously, it's not a competitive football game. We're not getting a whole punter getting blown up by Sean Taylor. But, I mean, it is what it is. We kind of just have to go with it. Pro Bowl doesn't really mean much anymore, but as long as the players have fun, I'm all for it.
Yeah, you make a good point there for sure. I think, I mean, with something you said that I liked was that maybe fans will eventually buy into it. I think most people don't like the flag football game. I didn't even watch it this year. But yeah, I mean, my overall synopsis is I honestly tend to like watching the actual games part more, where they have like the precision passing. I think that's always fun to watch. Just watching those guys like launch those things 40 yards into the 4-point basket like effortlessly. I think that's always fun to watch.
Yeah. So if it was up to you guys, that just got me kind of thinking about this here. They can keep the Pro Bowl games the way it is, but would you just take the flag football game out and have all the other events that go on? Because now I'm kind of thinking about that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't love the flag football game. I don't see how much benefit. I saw some highlights from it. Didn't look like there were very many people in the stands. I honestly wonder if, you put the Pro Bowl, like the mini game stuff they do in the stadium, and I wonder if more people would come watch that instead of just having the games in like some small practice dome.
Were those not in the stadium, like the games, the events?
No, they're at like
they're
at like some domed like facility. There's fans there, but wasn't very many.
More people would come out and watch, I bet. Yeah, if they moved that, like you said, to an actual stadium.
Yeah.
People would rather watch that than just the flag football game alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know how many events. I'm assuming the Pro Bowl is pretty like fan inclusive with different events. I know it kind of was in Hawaii back when that happened. I would think it still is, but if it's not, that's one thing the NFL should focus on. Because, I mean, let's be honest, what fan is going to go down? Who's going to say, all right, we're going to fly to Orlando, wherever the Pro Bowl is, and who's going to say we're going to go down there just for the Pro Bowl? Probably not really anyone, unless you're like a family or a good friend of a player or coach or something like that.
Yeah, and that should be a focal point of the NFL if they're trying to improve the Pro Bowl games, is really trying to get it back to Hawaii. I know that's, like I said earlier, the stadium has some issues that has some structure issues or whatever that need to get taken care of, and that has to do with Hawaii's humidity and all that stuff. And I don't know who else plays at that Aloha Stadium, but they need to do some renovations on it.
Is it a soccer facility? Maybe. I really don't know. I'm just guessing.
I think the University of Hawaii maybe played there.
That's what I was thinking.
but okay, it's closed now. So it's a closed multi-purpose stadium. Western suburb of Honolulu. It closed in December. Where's the teams? Let's see. It held the Hawaii Bowl until 2019. It held the Hula Bowl, and then the Pro Bowl for a while. Yeah, Hawaii Rainbow Warriors played there until.
Is that the like University of Hawaii?
I just wanted to clarify. She sent me an email.
Well,
You're good.
They sent me an email the other day.
So yeah, it looks like it can go into a baseball stadium too.
so
Interesting.
I was gonna say I just pulled up their Wikipedia page, which
Mhm.
isn't the most wonderful source ever,
No.
but it says here that a new stadium has been proposed to be built with demolition of this stadium to begin in early 2024. So that it looks like it's still just proposed, but it says the new arena or the new area around the stadium would include entertainment venues, retail stores, restaurants, housing, blah, 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 a whole bunch of different stuff. And it would be constructed on the current site of the stadium. So maybe if they built a new stadium, the NFL can move it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. If maybe, if there was more amenities and it was more fan
friendly.
Well, fan friendly is like I was gonna say fan focused, but fan friendly is even better.
Yeah.
If they did that, then definitely more people would.
Yeah.
probably
Something almost like I don't know, make it like Viking. I don't know if any of you have been to Vikings training camp, but they do a good job with that kind of stuff. They have like bean bags and stuff on the field, stuff or on the one field that they don't use. So they have like a bunch of activities and that player autographs. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be a way to make it better.
Also, I have a proposition that you guys might disagree with, and I might get clowned on for this, but I don't really care. What if the NFL moved the Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl games, whatnot, to Europe, like to London, and then this would never happen, but then they stopped doing games over there and instead put the Pro Bowl over there?
It's an intriguing option, but I don't think the NFL wants to be, they're going to Brazil. I mean, they want to branch out and they want this game to be for everyone. So I think they would not stop games, but I could see a potential possibility to say, hey, Pro Bowl, we could throw it in London. We can go to Australia. We can go to these different venues to try to branch out.
Yeah.
That's just what the NFL's got with London that makes money, and that obviously brings in fans, and that's good for the NFL. So I don't think they'd want to try stop doing that, but I could see them try potentially to do something with the Pro Bowl like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see them maybe testing it 1 year. I don't know if it end up sticking, but I don't think it's a horrible idea.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Like you just said, it didn't work out. We just go back to the United States. We try something new. And that's what these Pro Bowl games are. It's like, hey, what can we do to try to gain some fan interest? But most importantly, we got to please the players.
Yeah, and the NFL seems to have a lot of fan interest now starting in England. I mean, those games, all of them are sold out. All of them sell out. So, I mean, the Vikings are playing there next year. It's always a cool atmosphere, I've noticed, but always seems fun.
So this is non-football news, but we have breaking Minnesota sports news, so I'll share it anyway. The Detroit Pistons are finalizing a deal to send Monty Morris to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Who are they trading?
I don't know. Shan's just put it out like 2 minutes ago.
Oh my God.
Too early to tell right now, but
hanging around, going around the Timberwolves Twitter circle, that was a name that was always linked to Minnesota.
Yeah. I saw Bogdanovich was linked to. I don't know. This is the most Timberwolves I've watched in like a long time. So
wasn't he just traded to Detroit though? Isn't there like a certain period you have to wait before you can trade a player again?
I'm not a basketball expert, so we're gonna look this up. He was traded to the Detroit Pistons on July 6th.
So yeah.
Okay, so he's been there a while.
From the Washington Wizards.
I guess he hadn't been playing. All right. As you can tell, we're a football channel, so
yeah. The Wolves, they don't really have anyone that's crazy good, a good option off the bench to come in for Mike Conley. So that's
why I was kind of hoping
what they're rumored.
Sorry.
That's what they were rumored to be looking for. And
I knew Buddy Hield's name was on the chopping block, and so a guy like that could have came into Minnesota and been nice off the bench. But yeah, Monte Morris easily provides a spark over a guy like J Mac.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope there's a day where we can have a full Minnesota sports podcast where we're not just Vikings and we can actually talk like in an, how do I say it? We can talk and know what we're talking about across like all the different sports. But I don't know enough yet about basketball and hockey to be able to do that. But
yeah, I couldn't give you
hopefully there's a day where I can do that soon.
I could honestly do hockey, but basketball is the one. And then I guess baseball a little bit. I'm pretty knowledgeable with it, but not to the point where it'd be like I could cover or do a podcast regularly on it.
I could host a football podcast. Obviously we do here. And I could probably host a baseball one. I mean, I had on my own YouTube channel, I had Twins post-game shows this past year after some of the games. So I could do that. But right now, I just don't know enough about the Wolves and Wild or hockey and basketball as a sport quite to be able to do it, to, at least to the level we're doing on this. So maybe someday we can, though.
Baseball's my bread and butter. And then it would be a tie between football and basketball. Hockey, man, doesn't really interest me. Very out of in the minority there, obviously, because we're from Minnesota.
I like the sport of hockey. It's just a nice sport to me.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Monty Morris distracted me because I was gonna propose something else relating to the Pro Bowl games, or what were we talking about after? Oh,
initially we were talking.
Then we talked about
moving it. States.
It was going to be something with moving it. I was going to have a proposal.
Moving it to like London. We talked about. We talked about that. I know
I don't know if this is exactly what I was going to say, but I'm going to say this. What do you guys think about the fact that the NFL keeps trying to expand into like Europe and other places?
I like it.
I think they're trying to they're trying to spread the sport. You know, maybe eventually get more teams involved in other countries, and I think expansion is something every sport's looking to do.
I think it's fair that they do it, but I mean, ultimately, in my mind, like here in America, Americans have made up the fact that soccer is not going to be a predominant sport here. And I guess I don't know if that's this way for other countries around the world, but I feel like other countries have decided that American sports outside of like baseball, because baseball is a lot more global.
Yeah.
I feel like other countries have just decided that like football is not going to be a staple sport in their country.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like there's some fans around the world. Obviously, Europe is going to be the predominant place. There are going to be fans of football, but I feel like the more they try to spread it, the more it's. I mean, how many more fans are they really going to gain though? Like, oh, I know what I was going to say. So there's always been talk. There's been talk for a couple of years now about them trying to move a team to London. Like if the NFL moved a franchise there or started one there. What do you guys think about that? Because I already say right away it's never going to work. They're never going to.
I would say no.
I don't think it'd work just with the flying stuff, and team has to fly all the way out there. And even already, don't they typically either they get a bye week like after they play in London or something?
They can. Timberwolves declined. No, I'm sorry. We were talking about the Timberwolves.
I was just going to say
Vikings declined their bye week last year when they went overseas.
Yeah.
Then they went to play in Miami, and then they took their bye. So it is an option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think actually on like an episode of this podcast a long time ago when it was just me, Sam Z, and Big Lou, I think we actually kind of did talk about this another time. Unless they played like all 8 home games in a row or something, it's not possible because the time zone change it would be such a disadvantage for whoever the London or European or whatever team. It would never be able to work. It would be too much of a competitive disadvantage for that team.
Jacksonville
try something like that.
Jacksonville obviously has a home game in London every year, but for the first time ever, Jacksonville played 2 straight games in London and they stayed there. And there was an obvious disadvantage when Buffalo came in with the time zone change. So obviously that's where that kind of experiment comes in to say, hey, could we have a team overseas? So it is, experimental, you're working with it, but I just don't think long term it's a viable option.
I feel like it would also be, the more I think about it now, I mean, it just didn't make sense from the start, but the more it still doesn't make sense. It would be hard on the families of the players for that team.
Exactly.
Because you'd be traveling a lot more. And again, if, for instance, they played all their games like in a row, because then they wouldn't have to travel to America and then back and to and from, it would just be so hard on your family to live in this side, on a different side of the world for half the year, and then you move back to America for the other half or whatever. Yeah, it just won't work.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
As much as the NFL wants it to work, you should try to grow the game. It just, as we just brought up, logistics just doesn't make sense.
So yeah, they can stick to their couple games a year.
They got
other
soccer, they're
countries, but-
fine.
Yeah, they have their own sport.
They got the world's most predominant sport. They're fine.
Why are American sports so much different than like every other country? Does anyone know the history of that?
Well,
Why
I
would
can.
that be the case?
So I have a few takes on this. So first off, everywhere else, soccer is the predominant sport. Literally everywhere, it's predominant. Every country has its own league. In Europe, you have the Premier League, all the top leagues there. I went to Amsterdam, and even there they have a league that's like one of the top leagues in the country. And they all have those soccer teams. But I think what I really honestly enjoy, what I really think is cool about other countries that I don't think we really have here, is that they all have a national team. Well, the U.S. has a soccer national team that I actually follow pretty closely, but like all these other countries, like no matter what, like everyone rallies around that one soccer team for like the World Cup or like any other matches they play, and everyone's watching them. Like the Netherlands, like everyone I talked about, if I mentioned soccer, they talked about the Dutch national team. And the United States doesn't really have that. We all have our own teams. We all have our own teams, own sports, all that kind of stuff. And I've always wished people would watch more of the U.S. men's national team, because I think it'd be really cool to watch us really kind of rally around that one team. And the U.S. men's national team has been getting better than it used to be, and the World Cup's going to be here in 2026. So I think that's honestly a big difference.
Maybe someday I can get into soccer. I could see it.
Yeah,
I could see it someday.
I become a soccer fan around the World Cup. It is a huge spectacle. It's the greatest spectacle in all of sports.
It's such a fun tournament.
So with that
some
said,
predictions.
I was gonna say, is that where we want to go from here? I mean, we kind of talked about everything there is to talk about, and then talked about some other fun topics too.
Yeah,
So I think we can
keep it
do
rolling.
that. So I'm gonna actually, unless you guys oppose, I think we should do game picks first, because we have more
Sure.
predictions, and game picks are pretty much already decided. So, well, we already know that
That's fine.
Sam Z won, so
Yeah,
and then
that works.
everyone else is just playing for position at this point.
Just to say we
So-
got it right or not.
There's predictions. Here's the Super Bowl. So, like, obviously, there's one game here. Those are the conference championship games. I might have shown them last week. I don't remember, but those were our picks for that. Sam Z didn't get his in on time per usual, but somehow
But this
he got
week
his
is
picks-
different.
He got his picks in today, probably because we were roasting him in our group chat. So he actually got him in on time today.
All right.
After Big Lou said he wasn't going to be on the episode, but he would still get his stuff in on time. Unlike anything Sam Z has ever done. Never
Let's
gets his stuff in.
unveil Sam Z and Big Lou's then.
So again, here's our stuff. We're going to go through that in a minute. I'll go all the way up to the top. Here is our information. Currently in first place and clinching the victory is Sam Z. He won season 1 of Game Picks. Following him is, I believe, me. Yep, that looks right. Me. I'm ahead of Big Lou by 1 game. So we'll see if we pick the same team this week or not, because we could have ended in a tie. Then we've got Matt at just under 60 and Sam O back there as well. So with that said, we'll go down here. We can go one by one with the people first that are not on today, and then we can make our own, or unless anyone else has any other ideas. I just came up with that on the spot.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's fine.
we'll just do that. So we're gonna start with Sam Z. So we're gonna do this. So white's the color. All right, he picks for the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Z picks the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow. I feel like he'd pick the Niners.
Yeah.
Seems like a Niners guy to me,
Yeah.
but I
makes
guess
sense.
not. To follow it up, we have Big Lou. Big Lou picks also the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, me neither. So, with that said, us three who are on today's episode, how are we going to approach this? How do you want to do it? What's the most entertaining?
Give-
Good.
Give a player
Give
to
some
watch
points.
for, maybe, and give a reason why you think the team that you chose won is going
I
to
have
win.
some stuff on the Super Bowl if you want me to share it. I mean, honestly,
You want to do that now or after we unveil these?
It's up
By
to
the
you.
way, there's nothing under them. They're all black.
Yeah, like I can unveil mine.
They're cleared. So
And I know Matt's is too. I don't know if his is or not, but
Oh yeah, mine is too. So we can
see,
wait
there
that.
you go. Wow, look at that. They're empty. So we all have our picks in our head, but we didn't put them on the spreadsheet because we're gonna unveil them during the episode today. So yeah. So if you said you had things to share, you can. I mean, you can feel free to do that
Okay.
if you want.
So Super Bowl is it's probably my favorite single sports game of the year. I always love it every year. You know, hopefully one year I'll love it even more because the Vikings are playing in it, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves here. But yeah, just a couple keys. I've been kind of doing some research on this game and just looking around, listening to podcasts, reading articles, and I found some keys here. So first off, this is a more intriguing matchup than I think a lot of people are giving credit for. But I think some of the keys for the Chiefs are getting Pacheco going early. That's going to be a really big thing, especially against how stellar that Niners defense is. I think one of the biggest matchups in this game is going to be Travis Kelce versus Fred Warner. As you see, Kelce is a legend. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Fred Warner is one of the best linebackers in the league, and that's someone who he's going to be on a lot. Yeah, get Pacheco going early. This is a much better offense when they're running the football. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring first quarter and probably a low-scoring first half. If I'm being completely honest, I think these are two kind of like big giants, two of the best teams in the NFL all year. Even though the Chiefs have had ups and downs, but I think it's going to be really important for them to win the turnover battle. In their last 26 games, the Chiefs are 25-1 when they win or tie the turnover battle. For the Chiefs, you want to stop the run early. Christian McCaffrey is going to try to kill you. They're going to try to get the ball to McCaffrey early and often, as they should. Kyle Shanahan's one of the best play callers in the NFL. Niners know what they want to do, and they do it well. So one of the more interesting ones that I don't think is being talked about as much is the Chiefs have a backup tackle, McKivitz, and you want to get Chris Jones on him as much as possible. So that's kind of preview for the Chiefs. For the Niners, I think their linebackers really have to keep an eye on Travis Kelce. You can't lose sight of him. If you lose sight of him, he's going to kill you every single time. If you're the linebackers, you should play downhill. The Chiefs are bottom 5 in play action percentage. So with the Chiefs, they don't use play action a lot. So that should really help the Niners play downhill. Get to Pacheco, stop Pacheco, force negative plays. And then I just said Christian McCaffrey, get him the ball as much as you can and as many ways as you can. Run it to him, throw a toss, throw a screen, a wheel route, anything like that. And then I think the biggest key for the 49ers is you want to keep Mahomes off the field for as long as he can. Like, give him 3 possessions in the second half, because the best way to stop Mahomes, and I firmly believe this, is he can't beat you if he's not on the field. So you have to have 8-9 minute drives. You really have to slow them down. And you have to, even if you don't score, you still have to take time off the clock and convert touchdowns instead of field goals. I think that's going to be keys for both teams. So those are some points I have. If anyone wants to.
Well, Sam, you might as well just give us your pick.
So with that, I really like the 49ers, and I think they're the most complete team in the NFL. But I've picked against Mahomes so much, and I just don't think I can do it again. Mahomes has been here, Purdy hasn't. Well, I don't think that's going to affect the Niners as much. I just have to go the Chiefs here. So there's my pick.
Wonderful. So I can go next because that's the perfect segue into mine. So last year, I don't think I've ever shared this story on the podcast before. Maybe I have. I had or I didn't, but some of my friends had our high school football coach. He's a history teacher also at our school. So they had him at the time of the Super Bowl. And in some of his classes, he'll give like extra credit if you pick the winners of different sporting events. So like March Madness when that happened and the Super Bowl and stuff. So I didn't have his class at the time, but I knew some other people that did. And so I walked by his room one time and when he had class and he asked me, are the Chiefs or Eagles going to win? And I said, give me the Chiefs. And he said, give me the Eagles. He said the Eagles are a better team. And I looked at him and I said, never bet against Mahomes. And to this day, a year later, that is potentially the most truthful statement I've ever said in my life. And it was only like 4 words. What was it? Yeah, 4-word statement. I said, never bet against Mahomes. And to this day, I live by that. I'm going Kansas City Chiefs. It doesn't matter how much better of a team the Niners are. The Niners are a better team. I will absolutely say that, and I'm sure you guys would probably agree with that too. The Niners are a better team than the Chiefs, but
I mean,
never
it's truly
bet against Mahomes.
It's truly crazy because we were told this last year, and we were told this year. This is the year to get the Chiefs, and both years they found a way to make the Super Bowl. It's insane. I don't really know how they do it. I think Mahomes is going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks, is probably the best quarterback of all time. I mean, the quarterback he's lost to in the playoffs is Tom Brady. He's beaten everyone else.
I'm willing to say right now that I think Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback of all time.
Yeah. I was listening to one of my football podcasts, and they said, Mahomes has that Brady effect, but he's more mobile and has a better arm. It's just, it's crazy.
I think it's hard to debate like Mahomes and Tom Brady, who's the greatest quarterback of all time. Mm-hmm. It's hard to debate like just anyone in anything in football because some people can just be so much different than others.
Yeah.
So right now, I'd still say Tom Brady is the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
but
right
if
now.
Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, and say if they make the Super Bowl again next year, I would very seriously consider Patrick Mahomes to be the greatest quarterback of all time.
I mean, he just wins.
I know, it's crazy.
It doesn't matter who he has. His number one wide receiver is Rashee Rice.
I think that also this goes not just for quarterbacks, but any position. The term best isn't like a real term. Like, what do you consider to be the best? Do you consider best to be most talented, most Super Bowl wins, most all-time wins? So there's no real way of ever debating them. Same thing comes like when people argue anything like who is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now? And you could say probably 5 different people and they would all be valid arguments, but because they're all different players, there's just no way of really establishing one is better than the other. I don't know why I went on a mini tangent there, but I did for no real reason. So there you go. The Kansas City Chiefs are better because of Mahomes. That's what makes him better by default.
Yeah. And like, I think if you put Mahomes on the Niners, they don't lose a game all year. They're 18, 19-0 heading into this game. And I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I digress.
All right. Close us out, Matt.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a trip. Let's go back to the History Museum, shall we? Let's go back to Super Bowl 51. A legendary score and a legendary meme, 28-3. Falcons choked to Tom Brady. Who was the offensive coordinator? Can someone remind me? For the Falcons? Kyle Shanahan. Let's go back to the last time these two teams played in a Super Bowl. 49ers were up 10 points going into the fourth quarter. Who won the game?
Chiefs.
KC won. So what's this narrative? What am I trying to get at? Kyle Shanahan can't win the big game.
He's starting a Kyle Shanahan narrative. I love it.
Kyle Shanahan can't win the big game.
outside of Kevin O'Connell, he's probably and Jim Harbaugh now is my favorite head coach in the NFL. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
This
It's an
team can
interesting-
only win when they're ahead. They can't play from behind. Well, NFC Championship game against Detroit, they were down 24-7.
They're like,
Came
we're
back.
fine.
They came back and won for the first time.
Packers, they've been on the last 2 weeks.
But most notably, Detroit.
It sounds more like
Right.
anything that they can't play from ahead and they only play from behind is what you're making it sound like you're.
Brock Purdy is a game manager.
I disagree, but
That's
We'll
what
see.
they're telling. That's what they're telling me. And there's one team that can save us from unnamed superstar from potentially getting a Super Bowl ring. And I'm riding with the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Way to not have everyone go KC.
I really wanted to pick the Niners, and I really hope the Niners win.
Boom. I love it. So that is our Super Bowl picks, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll just have to see how they end up. Again, one more time, here's the standings. Sam Z has 1. He's followed by me, Big Lou, Matt, and then Sam O. Also, I just received an ESPN notification about the compensation for the trade. It is for Shake Milton, Troy Brown Jr., and a 2030 second-round pick.
That's crazy to think that we're already able to trade 2030 picks.
Yeah,
That's like 6
It's
years.
crazy.
That's
I
6
know.
years away. And they can
That's
trade.
like-
that's the thing in the NBA for some weird reason. Like that never happens in the NFL.
Who is
Most
eligible in the
years, like 3-4
2030
years ago.
class? Who
The
do we
NFL
need to be scouting?
I'm pretty sure the NFL has a rule where you can't trade more than 3 years out,
Something like that.
which makes sense. It's fair.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb in the NBA that you can trade so much, but also there's less picks in the NBA, whereas like an NFL draft has 7 rounds and a lot of players.
Wouldn't we
mean-
be starting to scout like 7th graders? Wouldn't they be eligible for the 2030 draft?
Yeah. So they should
Around
start.
there.
They shouldn't start scouting the best players. They should start scouting the guys that are gonna fall to the second round to use with that
Yes,
pick. I don't know.
sir.
Start finding like middle school role players or something. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Middle school role players.
Something
That's
like-
amazing. All right, so that's our game picks. Over here we got predictions. I'm sure we got probably, for the most part, all Super Bowl related predictions. We'll go through what's come off the board here. Not really that much did because it was overall not that an eventful week of football.
Mhm.
Big Lou said AFC would win the flag football game by only 1 score. The NFC won, and it was by a couple scores or something like that.
64-59 overall.
Okay. I'll just say this. You said the NFC would win the Pro Bowl games. Did you mean the flag football game or the event overall? Because, I mean, they won both, so it
Because
didn't
they
matter.
won the event overall.
Was there even a score for the event overall? Because I couldn't find it
The
anywhere.
overall score was 64-59.
I thought that was just for the football
Everything
game.
together. Everything was together.
Oh,
And
So
that
the-
was the final scores. With all the mini games and the flag football game, the final score was 64-59.
oh, so the football game just had significant implication.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's kind of dumb. That's too weighted. So, yeah. You also said Beef would be a head coach.
Yeah. Well, guess what? He stays in Minnesota. So wait,
Maybe
wouldn't
next
that mean technically there will be 9+ head coaching vacancies be red?
Were you on last week's or not? Because I think we talked
No.
about it on that one. We
No.
decided we would wait till the beginning of training camp. Because like there can always be a coach that like steps down or something. Because sometimes that happens.
Mhm.
Like I don't remember what time of year it was, but I remember when Sean Payton stepped down, and it was I
Yeah.
thought it was at like an odd time too.
It
So
was.
that was
I think
why
it was
we
around the
left it.
draft.
So that was why we left it, is because the coach can always step down or something weird can happen. So at the beginning of training camp for sure, then it's safe to remove. Unless you want to keep your Brian Flores one on, but I think it's pretty safe
No.
that he's not going to be a coach.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not. He's not.
So that's that. Also, you weren't on last week. We love your prediction of, I don't know, Jim.
I'm honored to hear that.
That was a good
I
one.
think that's the first commentator prediction we've ever had on here. So we like that one. You said Vrabel would be the next Commanders head coach. I think they hired. Who did they hire again?
Dan Quinn.
Oh yeah, they hired him. I think later the day when we
Yeah.
made this. We made this on
I was
Wednesday. I
at
think it
the
was hired
gym. I
later
was
that
at the
day.
gym that night when it happened. I remember.
So you said that. Surprised Vrabel. Have you guys seen? I've been seeing around Twitter that there were reports that Mike Vrabel didn't get hired by some positions just because he's such a big dude, so he was intimidating. There were some like
No.
owners and front office
No.
people that thought he was intimidating, and that's why they didn't hire him.
No.
Because I mean, he's a former. He was what? Was he a what?
His
position?
linebacker.
Yeah, because I was gonna say. I mean, he's a big dude, but that
Yeah.
didn't stop the
Titans
Lions from hiring Dan Campbell, and he's huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mike Vrabel is 6'4", 261. Let's look up Dan Campbell's measurables.
Oh, he was a tight end. He's got to be tall.
He is listed on here as 6'5", 263. According to mockdraftable.com. Oh, wait. So that might have been when he was a player, actually. Never mind. Hold on. See if we can find updated information on him. 6'5", 265. That's like the same. So,
Yeah.
so
All
there you go.
Yeah.
So that's that. Over here is our standings. Currently, Sam Z is in the lead. And then there's like three of us all at the same. So Matt is next, followed by
Big-
me, followed by Sam O, and we're all within like 1.5% of each other.
And then Big Lou's well in the basement.
Yeah, Big Lou's, he's sunk. It's over. So the 2023, our first season we've ever had of predictions, is set to end next week. So next week, these numbers will be final, and someone will be crowned champion. So this is the last chance people have to catch up. Is going to be this week. So next Wednesday is the end of season 1, and then we start season 2. We'll go over. I'll kick us off with our first one. I don't remember it. Okay, it's about the national anthem. The national anthem over under as of I think Monday or whatever day I looked it up, it was 90.5 seconds, which is actually the smallest over under for Super Bowl national anthem of all time. And there's only been, I think, one time it's ever been under like 94 seconds in the whole like history of the Super Bowl. So
And every time, I was just gonna say,
I don't know why it's so low this year. So it's going to be over.
it's weird because I saw something last year and it said every time, I don't know if this is true or not, but it said every time a country singer sang it, it's been over. The over is hit.
I remember Chris
Stapleton was over then.
Chris
He
Stapleton
just barely went over.
His went over. His was really good too.
He did
I
a
might
good
just
job.
be biased as a country music fan, but that was really good.
I think everyone can agree that Chris Stapleton did a good job on that when
He did
a couple of
great
years
job.
ago when that was. I think Luke
Last
Bryan did it
Last
too.
year.
That was last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, I'm
They
leaving. I'm dumb.
Miss Nick Sirianni crying on the sideline.
Mhm.
Oh. Didn't Luke Bryan do it a couple years ago? Or maybe he did one of the other pregame singing things. But I remember him being part of the lineup a couple years ago.
I don't know, but I just know Post Malone's singing America the Beautiful, which I think is a very odd choice.
Yeah.
It is. So, all the
Let's
music
see.
this year is just really random. Because, yeah, him to Usher to Reba, all really random music choices. But, yeah, even if it's Reba McEntire, it's still going to hit the over because it just does like every time. So, that's that. Sam Z is not on, but for once he actually put his stuff in. He said there would be 60 or more points scored in the Super Bowl. And I'm assuming that means over under is 59.5. So we'll just have to see how that goes. That seems like 60. That just seems like a lot.
Last year was over, but that's obviously two
That was
different
just-
teams.
That was an outlier year, it felt like to me at least. That was just a lot of points. I don't know. We'll see. Big Lou's up next, and he's also not on today. He says the Gatorade color will be blue. I don't have the odds for what's most likely to be it. I'm sure if you go on any website, it's going to be the prop bets are going to be different.
Yeah.
Because there's really no reason to believe one is more likely than the other unless people are sitting there every game and studying what color the Gatorade is for teams. So I probably won't even notice what color it is. So Big Lou or someone's gonna have to remind me because I probably won't even care. All right.
My first prediction. The coin flip will end up with it being heads.
Do they put that on the broadcast?
Yeah, they broadcast.
Okay, then we'll be good.
Yeah, because that's a huge betting one too.
Yeah, it is huge.
Mm-hmm. Some of the prop bets are just so funny.
Yeah,
so
they're hilarious. All right, my first prediction. There will be 10 or less total points scored in the first quarter. I think this game in general is honestly going to be lower scoring. But I think these two teams are going to kind of have to feel each other out and figure out what's going to work and what doesn't. I think we're going to get a couple punting drives, maybe a field goal drive in the first quarter, but I don't see it being a high scoring quarter.
Yeah, I don't see this being a shootout game either, like last year was. That was just a weird game.
Yeah.
I said my second prediction, Patrick Mahomes or Christian McCaffrey would win Super Bowl MVP. I feel like if the Chiefs win, it has to be Mahomes because who else would you give it to other than Travis Kelce? Probably no one.
Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, no.
That's 200 years.
Not going to happen.
That'd be funny.
Legacy gaming coming.
But I feel like if it's the Niners, people would give it to a quarterback, Brock Purdy, but I feel like it could be anyone. Like if he scores a couple touchdowns, I don't see any reason why it couldn't be him. Or if Deebo Samuel goes off, I feel like it could be him too.
Nick Bosa.
I'd like to see a defensive player get it. That'd be nice.
Von Miller won it in
I was gonna say, I remember Von Miller in Super Bowl 50, I think got it.
Malcolm Butler.
Did Malcolm Butler get it the year of the interception?
No, Tom Brady won it, I think.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Because I was gonna say,
I know there was a Malcolm Smith won it in Super Bowl 48. He had an interception return touchdown.
Did Ray Lewis win it? Super Bowl 40 or 47?
Let's look. Ray Lewis, Super Bowl 35 MVP.
Okay, not 47. Who won 47? Oh, it was Joe Flacco.
The GOAT Joe Flacco. Greatest quarterback we've ever seen.
The guy just will not retire. Malcolm Smith, Tom Brady, Von Miller, Tom Brady, Nick Foles. Oh, Julian Edelman won it.
Okay, but the Super Bowl 53 was what, 13-3?
He won 53. Yeah, 53.
I don't even think he scored the touchdown in that game. It was Sony Michel.
Yeah, I don't know.
How did it? Who cares? Who cares?
I forgot Sony Michel existed until right now.
I remember him.
Sony Michel! Sounds the Dogs home for the championship.
That's how I remember him, actually. And he was a supposed fantasy sleeper his rookie year, and that never worked out. I remember that.
What does Sam Z think?
Sam Z, his second prediction is Travis Kelce will score twice against the Niners.
That's a fair prediction.
Do we consider that to be exactly twice or at least twice? I bet he means at least, but
no,
that could potentially
don't fix it. We'll ask him and we'll figure it out.
We'll ask him.
Okay, I just pulled this up. Julian Edelman had 10 receptions for 141 yards in that Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That was such a forgettable Super Bowl because it was 13-3. I kind of forgot.
The AFC Championship was better. Remember that? That was
because that was Mahomes' first rodeo in the AFC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to see what Big Lou thinks.
We'll ask Sam Z
to clarify,
to make sure so he doesn't get burned by a dumb prediction. Our Big Lou says the loser of the coin flip will win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Interesting.
Fair.
Good prediction, Big Lou.
My second prediction. Bill Vinovich and his crew is calling Super Bowl 58. They will call 12 or more accepted penalties. Now, I don't know how many penalties that are called accepted. I don't know that stat, but I feel like he wants to make himself the forefront in front and center. And obviously, if Jawan Taylor's going to have 4 false start penalties or 2 holding penalties, the Chiefs obviously are going to struggle in that department. So, yeah.
I'm trying to look up. So there's on Pro Football Reference, you can actually look up like
there are
ref
stats. I didn't really look at them.
So I'm trying to figure out his stats this year. If there's anywhere it has it. Oh, I can look on. There's an NFLpenalties.com.
I think that's a website.
On NFLpenalties.com, he this year gave out 197 penalties, and let's divide that by
how many games?
18 weeks. He also did the divisional playoff too. So
do that, divide that by 19.
So he gave out an average of 10 penalties per game, and an average of how many penalty yards? 81 penalty yards per game. So there you go. Let's see if there's a big difference between home and away stuff.
Well, it's a neutral site. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah. He gave away 99 penalties to the home team and 98 to the road team this season. So he's a very fair referee with the team that he's penalizing. And yeah, so that's that. So if anyone ever gets bored, you can just look up NFL ref stats and see who's throwing flags. And
you got to make this game very interesting, and by these kind of predictions that we're making, make the game more interesting.
So I don't know if I'm assuming these on this NFL or NFLpenalties.com. I don't know if it counts for all penalties or if it's only accepted, because there is a separate category for declined.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. They'll probably show it.
We'll watch during the game, and I'll definitely be counting how many penalties are accepted.
We'll know. So
yeah,
it'll be all right. So that's that.
All right. My prediction is, hold on. Chris Jones will have 1.5 plus sacks in the game. As I said, the Niners have a backup tackle starting, and I think that's going to be a matchup that the Chiefs are looking to exploit a lot. And I think Chris Jones is going to have a day. So 1.5 or more sacks is my prediction for Chris Jones.
Nice. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I did just see Nick Saban will appear on College Game Day, as well as NFL Draft and SEC Media Day coverage. So he'll be around the media realms. Good for him.
I saw something that I was listening to one of my podcasts, and Joel Klatt thinks that he should be the commissioner of. He should become the commissioner of college football, which I think is actually a good idea. But
that'll never happen.
I know, but I think it'd be cool.
All right. As we go around our final lap, my first prediction, I'm actually going to change it. Will not commit a penalty.
Will not.
So originally, I did put it in here. Jawan Taylor, who's the most penalized player in the NFL, as we hashed out on, I think that was last week or 2 weeks ago. We hashed out that he's the most penalized player in the NFL this season. And so I initially said he will not, or I initially said he will commit a penalty. Then actually, I was on Twitter today, and I did see that I saw something saying that Jawan Taylor's mother actually passed away this week. So rest in peace to his mother. Mm-hmm. Hopefully all the best for him and his family. So he said he was dedicating this game to his mother. So with that said, I'm changing my prediction from he will commit a penalty to he will not, in the honor of his mother for this game. So,
class act, Joel. Class act.
So hopefully Jawan Taylor has a great game for his mother. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam Z is next, and he's not here. He said there would be more than 3 turnovers in the Super Bowl. I don't think so.
I think it'll be a clean game.
I think it'll be 2 at the most. That's what I'm thinking. I feel like Brock Purdy's going to throw at least each quarterback's going to throw an interception, and that'll be it. That's what I bet. It's my guess there.
2 turnovers.
Yeah.
There.
Right. Big Lou says Christian McCaffrey will score twice, and we can also ask him, just like we were going to ask Sam Z about the Travis Kelce one. Does he mean at least twice or exactly twice? Because they're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that's those guys. Over to Matt for his final one.
This might be the most specific prediction on this show. I said
Really? You made
Patrick Mahomes will throw a 27-yard touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
Is this just a random number?
Very.
We commemorating Blair Walsh's 27-yard field goal.
I didn't even think of that. That's actually smart. I don't know. It makes the game interesting. So if there is a play on the 27-yard line, you can hope it's a touchdown pass.
Yeah, does make it interesting.
I'm considering changing one of my predictions. Should I just do it?
Sure.
I'm gonna do it.
You don't really have rules.
I'm replacing the Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes one with this. Jerick McKinnon will score at least once versus San Fran. Former Viking legend, one of my first favorite Viking players ever. Jerick McKinnon will score at least once.
Yeah, I love that.
You can score on a 2-point conversion. I love how you left that a little open-ended.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. It's a possibility.
That's smart, though.
It is.
All right.
I have here, I have his autographed card right here. I met him at the Super Bowl Experience.
Is it with the Vikings or not?
Oh yeah, it's a Vikings football card.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I met him at the Super Bowl Experience when it was there.
You know, another former Viking player, not that Jerick McKinnon's forgotten about, but you know what Viking player I feel like gets forgotten about all the time? That
you gonna say Latavius Murray?
No, I was gonna say Matt Asiata.
Oh my gosh, I miss him. I actually kind of miss.
I used to really like Matt Asiata.
I like his last. I just like saying his last name.
It's a good name, good football name. So that's that. All right, to close us out.
Okay. The 49ers will not score more than 20 points in this game. I want to ask you guys a question. What do you think the most points the Chiefs have given up all year is?
I'm gonna say
Probably 20.
20 would be yeah. I mean,
No,
20
more.
makes
More
sense
than
as an
20.
answer.
24.
I was gonna say 24.
It's 27.
Ooh.
And it was to the Packers. But in the postseason, they gave up 24 to the Bills, and then 10 to the Ravens, and 7 to Miami. So I think I think Steve Spagnuolo has made this defense one of the best in the NFL, and I think that's going to continue this week. I don't think the Chiefs are going to score a lot of points. However, I think they're going to score more than the Niners and are going to win this game.
I think they're going to score more than the Niners and win this game. I love that.
That's how you win football games.
I think it'll be like a 24-17 type win for them.
Oh, shoot. We could make score predictions for an extra point.
We could have.
I'm going to put that below mine just for fun.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Brock Purdy, a young, inexperienced quarterback, against Spags in this defense.
That's where having a guy like McCaffrey helps.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna make mine. I don't know what I'm gonna make mine. I'm gonna go 2017.
I like that.
Nice. That would put whoever made the 60-point prediction, that would be 59. So
That's Sam Z.
That'd be a very Sam O thing to have end in 59.
My prediction: the Niners are going to score like 21 or something, probably.
Yeah, with your luck around here, yeah, that would happen.
Like,
so I'll flash this one more time. Here's our prediction scores, Samzy is in the lead, but we have, as you can see, a lot of predictions that are going to be cut off the board with the Super Bowl and then also with the NFL honors tomorrow as well. So Samzy is in the lead, followed by Matt, me, and then Sam O, who are all clumped together. And then Big Lou is just kind of there. So that's that. One more reminder, we're next week, Wednesday, the numbers become finalized. Everything goes back to 0. And then we crown our champion. And then all these predictions stay on the board. They just count toward next year and any other future seasons. So that's that. I mean, that pretty much does it here. I don't think we have a whole lot more. I didn't know how much we were going to have to talk about today, to be honest, but we did a good job of just coming up with different topics and throwing it around, talking about London and other locations for a while. So good job. Good work, peeps. So otherwise, that pretty much does it for this episode. We don't have anything else going on. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys again next week. Probably talk about the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl winner and whatnot, and probably some other things too. We'll look at the final stats for both the predictions and game picks and whatnot. So that does it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys again next week. Enjoy your Super Bowls. Travel safe for anyone that's traveling. And as always, SKOL Vikings. We'll see you guys again next week.